Welcome back to another episode of Tailgate with the Tullys. I'm CJ,
And I'm Ryan.
and we got the World Series starting up. Brian, how do your thoughts on it so far?
Well, the postseason has been really good. I think there's been a lot of great series just throughout the whole thing. I think this is kind of that bring back baseball, and I'm really excited. I think this World Series, a lot of people are hating on it. I think that having the best two teams in each division or in each league really makes it more exciting, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people want that underdog, but I feel like having the top two teams, having these like powerhouses in sports in general, brings a lot of eyes to the game, and to have their best players playing at the highest stage, it'll
hmm
be exciting.
Yeah, as I mentioned on our show earlier this week, it's the first time where two teams with the probable MVP and both being top teams in their respected league are playing each other in the World Series. I think the last couple of World Series with an underdog kind of just got destroyed in the playoffs anyway, postseason anyway. So I think that this is something that we needed for baseball.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is the first time that these two teams will meet in the World Series since 1981. So a lot of people always say like, "Oh, Dodgers, always Yankees." It's just not the case. I mean, they're always talked about, but it's not the case.
Well, because they're
But
playoff chokers, but
they are. But getting it done this year, I
yep,
do think that each team had the easiest path to the
I
World
agree.
Series, if anything. But getting right into it, so the Yankees looked offensively amazing throughout the series, although the Dodgers did as well. But on the Yankees, then you had Soto with 11 hits, two were doubles, three home runs. Judge 5 hits, but two home runs. Again, you'd like to see more of him throughout the postseason, but
hmm
when you're bringing the power, that's good. Bring the boom.
Bring the
Um,
boom.
Torres at 11 hits, which is somebody he's leading off for your team. So just him to get on base for these bigger name players is huge. He had 11 hits, five RBIs, and seven walks. Again, for your leadoff to get seven walks is huge. And then you had Volpe, who a young player coming up his really his first round in the playoffs. He has a 310 average in the playoffs and an 804 OPS. So just somebody again getting on base for these bigger name players. Stanton this postseason has been incredible. 10 hits, five of those being home runs, and two others being a double. So again, it's that production from these all-stars
Mhm.
that are they're getting it done for you.
Yeah, I think it's not even just the All-Star, that's those lower end guys, and I'm going to talk a lot about this with the Dodgers, but you just need that production from not just those guys, especially with Judge struggling. I know he's not been known as the greatest postseason player, but he's come up clutch twice for them with his big home runs. So just not having just to rely on those big name, big guys all the time. I think that's been kind of an issue for some of these teams in the postseason is when their big guys go down, they don't have that, and the Yankees have been able to work with that.
Yeah, again, I think the biggest thing for the Dodgers is going to be if their pitching can keep it up.
hmm
It's been very spotty. I mean, you have your top guys out. I mean, you haven't had Kershaw, you haven't had a good Walker Bueller. You have Yamamoto, who's been a hit or miss. And then you have
Jack
what's
Flaherty, who's seven
Flaherty.
ERA,
No,
and
Glasnow's who I was looking for.
yeah.
Glasnow hasn't even played for you, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball when healthy. So it's really going to come up to this Dodgers pitching if they can get it done. This postseason, Flaherty has 15 innings, 12 earned runs though in those innings, and only 8 Ks. So and
Mhm.
he's going to start the first game of the series. So he's really going to set the tone for how this series will go for them. You have Yamamoto, who has a 5 ERA right now with 11 Ks. Again, from someone who's supposed to be a powerhouse on your pitching staff. You need those numbers to go down a bit, especially in a World Series like this. You do have Evan Phillips leading their team right now in wins with two and three holds. So your bullpen is kind of your better pitching right now. So if you can get to those early, that's probably your best
Mhm.
bet. Maybe just let your starters go a few innings. Um, but yeah, that's pitching for the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, no, I think that the biggest key for the Dodgers is their starting rotation. Along with, I have another point, but we'll get to that in a bit. Their bullpen has been able to lock it down, but their starting pitching, like you said, is just it's been like the biggest weakness all season long. It's been the biggest hole they've had, even because they didn't have Shohei pitching. They lost Glass now for a while. They did get Flaherty at the deadline, and he pitched well in the regular season, but has not been able to get it done. He's the hometown guy. He said that that doesn't really mean much to him, but like it kind of does. Like I think it's in the back of his mind as much as he doesn't say it. The bullpen, like you said, great. Phillips with a 0 ERA, Trennan with a 1.3, Hudson with a 2.8, Banda and Kopech with sub 1.7. So they have these guys who are just locking it down when they need to, and then they have the lineup with just again bringing the boom, a lot of
Mhm.
home runs, a lot of pop. So just being able to lock it down early is going to be the big key for them.
Yeah, I believe Mookie Betts is leading the team with 5 home runs this postseason, who
hmm
he's somebody who really had to get it going. I know early in the postseason had Profar, Rob one, and it was really just looking like he couldn't get things going, and it was just going to be that way again. But he's really turned things on.
Well,
Um,
here the second one where Profar almost again robbed
Body
it, and
Rob, yeah,
I think if that ball was caught, that we're not talking about the Dodgers right now. We're talking about the San Diego Padres. I genuinely think that like swung such momentum, that literally swung so
yeah.
much momentum for the Dodgers, and like gave Mookie that push that he needed to
Mhm.
get.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, he has World Series experience with the Red Sox as well. So he's kind of someone who these other guys can look to. Even Shohei coming to I mean, he hasn't really made the playoffs with the Angels. So kind of
He
just
never
making,
did.
yeah, just making this giant run now with the Dodgers. He's a great player, but again, this is a whole new environment for him. Also, somebody I want to talk about is Tommy Edmonds. I mean, somebody you pick up at the deadline who's just a filler in your lineup. Again, somebody you wouldn't even think would make a difference in the postseason. In this postseason has 15 hits and he's hitting 341. He
Hmm.
was the NLCS MVP.
MVP.
He's just playing incredible. And again, just like I was saying about the Gleyber Torres and the Volpe, these players getting on base and giving you a little production takes more off the all-stars, the guys who you really rely on. And
Hmm.
even Freddie Freeman, you haven't heard much of him this postseason. So if you have these younger, less known players producing, it takes that off the players to have to do so much.
No, that was my second point with the Dodgers was just having like Muncy with three homers, Will Smith with two homers, Hernandez with two homers. These other guys that are not just your Mookie Freeman and Betts, or sorry, Mookie Freeman and Otani. Freeman hasn't even played all the games this series. He is 100%. He said he's good to go because of the break. So like getting the top of your lineup is powerhouse, but you need guys to get on base for these guys to take that pressure off so that if they're having a bad game, you're not out of the game. You're not done. This isn't like Bryce Harper, where if the Phillies aren't hitting around it, like the Phillies lose. Like this is Dodgers have that bang, bang, bang. Let's get on base for these guys.
Yeah, the last point I have here on the Yankees is their pitching also needs to play well. You have Garrett
Yep.
Cole, who's gone 16 innings and 6 earned runs. He's not playing terrible, but again, you're looking at him as your ace, and you want him to lock things down. You also have Rodon, who has 22 strikeouts and 7 earned runs. He's somebody who's spotty. I mean, he was getting very juiced up, and his emotion was really getting to him in the beginning of a few of these games, and he's throwing straight gas from jump, and you want him to kind of keep that energy, but like hone it back a little bit to get yourself longer through the game. You don't want to burn yourself out early, especially in a World Series when you could be needed 2 days, 3 days, no rest. So
Yep.
you really want to save yourself for those and not gun it all in the beginning. So I do think the Yankees do have to worry about that. I know Luke Weaver's been great out of the bullpen, 2.6 ERA. He has 4 saves. If you can keep that up, it's looking well. It's really going to come down to pitching for me in the series.
I know we were trying to make predictions. My prediction is whoever has the better pitching in this game in this series is going to be the winner because when you have two higher powered offenses, one of them's not going to be able to do as much as the other. So it's gonna or they both do really good, and it's whose bullpen can lock it down, whose starting pitching can lock it down. And so I think that's what I'm leaning more towards is who's got the better pitching.
Yeah.
And am I allowed to make my pick?
You can. I just want to say one last thing about these high-powered offenses. The Dodgers haven't won a game with scoring less than 8 points. The Yankees haven't won. Their lowest was 5 points or 5 runs. So these are going to be high-scoring games, and that's why it's going to come down to the pitching, or it's going to come down to who can outslug.
Yep, that's exactly my point. So the team I think that's going to be able to do, I think the Yankees are going to have that slight edge. I do think that this series is going to go seven, at least six. I just think it's going to be that back and forth. It's going to be slug, slug, slug. Whoever's pitching is able to shut that down. I think the Yankees have more of that like I can shut you down kind of guys with Rodon, Cole. Their bullpen's been better. I just think that that's going to be the biggest difference in this postseason. And I'm going to say Yankees in seven.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Yankees, I do feel like are the better contended team for this. I do think again, the Dodgers can get it going very quickly, and it could become a bloodbath very quickly for the
Hmm.
Yankees. But on the other hand, I don't know. I believe in the Yankees. I had the Yankees making the World Series from the jump. I didn't believe in this Dodgers team. I thought they had too much star power that it was just going to fold. But I'll take the Yankees in six, and my MVP would be Juan Soto. I just believe he can get it done in so many different ways. If he's walking, he's getting on base for somebody else. He has the pop. I mean, he's a doubles machine. So I would take Soto to be the difference maker in this.
My MVP is going to be Aaron Judge. I think that you can't be the captain. You can't be Mr. 99 unless you do something in the big moment. And I think that this is going to be Aaron Judge's breakout postseason moment. He hasn't had that yet. He struggled in this postseason. I know we talked about the two home runs, but He's got 13 strikeouts. This is going to be his series where he is just bang, bang. They're going to be pitching around him because he's just going to be smacking the ball going. You got the short porch. You got uh you got Dodger Stadium. This is Judge's time.
Yeah, I feel like this matchup has a lot of potential to break records, even television wise. I feel like this is going to draw a lot of eyes from just all over sports fans. So I'm really looking forward to this World Series. We'll be back next week with another episode. I'm CJ,
I'm Ryan.
and thank you guys for listening.